Val Gilbert. Welcome to my live call, and I'm talking about the subject of the future of network marketing. And that's what I've been doing for over 40 years. I share a lot of what I've learned in my journey on these live calls. And I started in this business totally broke. Yes, feel sorry for me, right? Anyway, I sold a junk truck to get started, put $200 into it. In the last almost 28 years now, I've been full-time, and it's great. If you have to work, there's no place like home. So I'm going to acknowledge some people joining. Who's joining out there? Okay. Hey, Rocio, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. And John Johnson, good to see you in Baltimore. Rocia's in California, of course. You can say where you're from. I'm starting a little late tonight rather. And yesterday I was on Zoom calls. I mean, there was no way I could even do a live last night. I normally do them on Monday nights, but anyway, here I am. So Anna, nice to see you from Coral Springs, Florida. Good to see you. Wendy from Indonesia. And who else are we going to give a shout out to here? And that's Anna from California. Nice to see you. Iglesias, do you sing? Who is that singer, Iglesias? Anyway, great singer. Tammy from Alabama, how are you? Nice to see you. And Jose, good to see you, man, from Massachusetts. Good to see you. And Alice, nice to see you as well. Forgot where you're from, though, but nice to see you on the call. And who else we got? Let's see, who else? Daniette from Michigan, right? George from New York City. Good to see you, George. Good to see you. And let me see. Flavio from Ecuador, the country of Ecuador. I hope you're doing well. Alice, oh, okay, London, Ontario. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So here's the thing. Hey, Keith, nice to see you from California. Jose in Oregon. And who else? Oh, Charles, nice to see you. And Daisy, how are you doing? Good to see you in Miami, Florida. Daisy. Awesome. So I hope everyone is doing well and things are going well in your life right now. I titled this, What's the Future in Network Marketing? Because we've seen so much disruption in different professions and service industries and so much that some of it won't be coming back. And a lot of businesses that or companies that do come back, they're going to do things differently. Some are going to downsize. Even Starbucks announced they're going to close hundreds of their stores. So we're going to see, because of the whole COVID thing, that there's going to be massive disruption. But the question is, how much of network marketing is going to be disrupted? I think one thing to do is, when we think about, just that thought, is go back and review the past, review the history of network marketing, and how it's evolved, how it's changed, how it's adapted, and that answers the question about the future of network marketing. And I think it's important, because you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. That's the thing. So to know the future, you need to know the past, and how companies have evolved, how our profession has adapted and changed. And those people who got on board with it are the ones that did very well. And then the ones who didn't do very well. And hopefully that's not going to be you, right? Shirley, nice to see you in Indonesia. Good to see you. The thing is, when we look at just the history of network marketing, it goes way back. Actually, it first began as more direct sales, of course, because when you think about, for example, a perfume company called the California Perfume Company, that company began in 1886, and McConnell, that's right, I want to get that right. McConnell was the one who started that company, California Perfume Company. He saw that there were a lot of ladies in California staying at home, sitting around their houses or just at home with nothing to do. So he came up with the idea of home parties and things like that. Interesting thing is that as a result of his doing that, that company evolved into Avon. And Avon is still around today. So when you look at some of the history, it actually changed, from the California Perfume Company to the year 1928, and it became Avon. Now you think of another one is Nutrilite. How many of you remember Nutrilite? Interesting thing, Carl Renberg is the guy who started that, but he got the idea for that when he was when he was over in China, involved in the Shanghai Revolution, and he was starving. So he had to get really creative and come up with ways to survive, right? And he learned about nutrients and things like that. Well, when he came back to the United States, somewhere in the 1930s, he created the first multivitamin, and that was in the 1930s. And later, two of the best distributors, J. Van Andel as well as Rich DeVos, the two leaders there, basically took that company over, and the name changed, and in the 1950s it became, or was called, Amway. Interesting, even when you think about the 1950s, how did they pay their people? I mean, you think about it, to have a computer to run a business. Hey Doug, good to see you. The computer would need to be just about the size of a house, right? That's crazy back then in the 50s, right? Think about it. And, with Amway back then, they required that if you wanted to get compensated on a downline, you had to have at least 25 customers. And only then, when you have 25 customers, could you sponsor and train distributors. And they would pay you 3% on the volume. And that was in the 50s. A lot of people don't know this. I mean, come on, guys. Think where we are now. We're talking about, 70 years ago. And the compensation plans then were designed for the time. Because back then, and I can remember 40 years ago when I started in network marketing, I had to inventory in my house. And we sold the product down to our reps, so they would buy it from us. And then when the company paid me, then I would also have to pay them. I would have to guesstimate their earnings. Can you imagine having to do that for your downline today? And because of the fact that, they weren't that sophisticated in terms of tracking volume and multi-levels of people, you know, they had those kind of plans back then called stair-step breakaways. And you still have companies that still have stair-step breakaway compensation plans, because a lot of those leaders who have been with those companies for decades, they've already got they're already structured, they're already built, the companies are the way they are, they're not going to change. And to survive, most of them go overseas to other countries where they get most of their volume. And we see a lot of it coming out of Asia today, especially with the big ones like Amway and Herbalife and Nu Skin, Mary Kay Cosmetics, what's the other one? FLP, yeah. So, those are just some examples. So, what changed that though? When we think about network marketing back in those times, we were, again, a lot of focus was on direct sales, not so much, well, the word network marketing didn't exist. They called it multi-level marketing, where you got paid on multiple levels of people when you built a team. And that I would say started really coming into focus in the 1980s. And it started becoming popular. You know, before, when you think about it, that prior to that, when people started joining companies like this, like Nutrilite, which became Amway, and then later you have Herbalife and Shaklee and just different companies like that. People joined those companies. It was basically a side gig. No one was really in it full time. Very few were in it full time. But with the progressive innovation of technology and the way it changed things, it simplified compensation plans, made it easier to track things, shipping, UPS, things like that, the distribution of products. You didn't have to keep them in your home any longer. Companies could ship direct. We had tools. We had cell phones. Oh my gosh. What did your first cell phone look like? Mine looked like a walkie-talkie. A walkie-talkie. I'm serious. It was that tall with an antenna. I go into a restaurant, you know, and sit it down on a table and just sit back, sip coffee. Everybody look at me and I go, they'd say, "What do you do?" Multi-level marketing. Of course, when the internet came around, we changed it. We got sophisticated. It was great. We called it network marketing. No longer did we have to mail out those $10 and $15 packages to prospects. We didn't have to do that anymore. We didn't have those expenses. And as things got easier, and now we take it for granted now, because we can do live calls like this, we can Zoom, we have WhatsApp, certain communication apps, but I'm telling you, back then, it wasn't unusual to have a phone bill for $1,200 a month. That was, you know, that was very common. And we didn't complain. That's just the way it is. We understood that you're going to have a phone bill if you want to be in this business. And that was how it was back then. But here's the thing. The game changer, the disruptor was always technology. That's always what changed it. And then companies would have to, you know, become competitive, because now it was easier and less costly for companies to launch, for people to start their own company, for entrepreneurs to do that. They have a product, they think it's hot, they want to take it to the marketplace. They want it to be a network marketing company. And so the kind of compensation plans that we saw in the late to early 1990s were different. For example, binaries became popular. That was a game changer. I remember working several binary compensation plans back then. Hybrid plans later came into creation, where you had basically, they would look at the plans of the past and say, okay, what's good about those plans? What's bad about those plans? And then they would create hybrid plans. Unigen plans, part unilevel, part generational, with pass-through infinities, bonus pools, things like that. They could juice it up. So, companies had to compete and, for, in compensation, what they would pay people. It wasn't just a product thing anymore. Interesting thing about that time is, though, that was the side gig. So for people that had jobs and they wanted extra income, network marketing was the side gig. Now, what was later on another disruptor was the side gig. That is non-network marketing opportunities like Amazon, like Uber, like Lyft, and other things that people could put money into, Airbnb, things like that. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. It's the backward version, but it says, welcome to the gig economy. And so interesting statistic here I'll read to you from the publisher of this book. It says here, approximately, talking about the United States now, approximately 40% of the labor force is currently involved in some type of gig, and we are rapidly approaching 50%. Imagine that. 40% of the labor force is involved in some kind of gig. We're talking about a side gig, things that people do. So now what's happened is that over, if we look back the last, 5 years maybe, network marketing companies started to plateau in their growth. Some of them went in decline, still with some decent volume, and they worked hard to recreate themselves, but it wasn't that it was just network marketing companies that were competing for the same people. It was other opportunities that were non-network marketing. And there were reasons for that. A lot of the trainings that leaders would do were complicated. There wasn't the culture. There wasn't the support in place. And so as a result, people would attract to things that are not complicated, things that they did understand. If I do this, I make that. And so as a result, those companies just flatlined. And we saw that over these years with a lot of companies that did not grow. Now, some got smart, some got creative. They tried to find ways to grow, and some did decent. They really did. But what we look at is, again, technology was a disruptor. The gig economy that came on was a disruptor to the network marketing profession. So again, the question, what's the future of network marketing? But now we've seen a disruptor to the gig economy, a big disruptor, coronavirus. Who would have ever saw that coming? That a virus could shut down a world economy. I mean, think about it. I mean, I've been getting massages down the road here from a girl every Thursday for the last 10 years. I've not seen her now in 2.5 months, 3 months, maybe 3 months now. Yeah, 3 months. Amazing. I drive by her place and there's no cars. She's not open. There's a lot of service professions that are no longer open. There are people that relied on products coming out of China that they are not getting now, that they sold on Amazon. Things that you need that are from that country, that again, disruption. So we've seen that now. When you look at the gig economy, it's like, boom, somebody dropped a bomb on it. And that was the big talk, was just that. And then the question was, how do you get that? How do you recapture those people? How do you recapture their interest into our profession? Well, I think those are some things that we have to look at. And that is, we need to really simplify, and I talked about this last week, the onboarding system that you use. Make sure that it is simple. Don't complicate it when you onboard people. Just tell them, what you love about what you do. and show them how to do an activity steps, a few steps, so that they can get a return for their time on their money, and they have a belief that they can do this. Simplify it. If you can make your own video on YouTube. Don't have it more than 3 or 4 minutes long. 5 at the most. Just give them some steps, something that they can master, something that they can get results back from, and they think, yeah, you know what? This is going to work. I can do this. So again, to recapture those people that were so invested in the gig economy and now it's been severely disrupted, simplification is very important in your onboarding when you onboard new people. Then, on top of that, culture is another thing. We have to understand these people are not our employees. They can quit us anytime. And it's amazing how many leaders out there don't get that. Their egos have, made them feel like that they're unbreakable, they're untouchable, that, the way things are, it's always going to be this way, and that's the mistake. And then they start treating people any way they want. They'll be rude, they won't give them time. It's amazing how many people in our profession are like that. So understand this, your income is going to be in proportion to how many people you help in this business. You want to make a lot of money, help a lot of people. That's what you do. And pour on the service, pour on the praise. You are where you are because those people help get you there. A lot of leaders think, well, I did it, yeah. I built a team of 100,000 people. I did it, man. Yeah, I busted my butt, got it done. I'm tough, man. I'm the deal. Nope. The only thing that we can take credit for are a couple of areas. The people that we personally enroll and the people that we've helped. Outside of that, we can't take any credit. The credit's got to go to the other people who did what? Sponsored those people and also helped others. They deserve that credit. It's a team effort. It's a team effort. So then, because it is such, then we have to value those people in our team. We need to treat them like gold. It's like my friend Bob Heilig said, treat them like superstars, but work with them like they're quitting tomorrow. Yeah, people quit this profession. What we want to do is minimize the back door and keep that front door open, but minimize that back door, because the back door is your attrition. Your front door is the people coming in. You want to retain them. So again, simplify your onboarding. Have a culture where you really make people feel like superstars. Treat them well. And if you have a Facebook group, then acknowledge new members joining the group. Acknowledge some of your new leaders that are maybe they just sponsored their first person, or they just got their first quick bonus, whatever you want to call it, rapid reward. I don't know what term you use. They just got their first commission from the company. Celebrate it, and have your leaders in that group celebrate with those people, even if they're not in their downline. That's the culture. You got to create a culture where people are so important. Again, they'll join you for money, but they'll only stay with you if they're valued. Even if they're making good money. I've seen people make very good money. I remember a $50,000 a month earner left a company. He wasn't valued. He went to a company where he could get valued. See, we all think that sometimes the only reason why people join these companies is money. It's not. People want to feel like they have something to offer, that they have worth. And so when in the absence of that, they're going to look for companies or for team leaders that will do that. Which brings us to the third point here, and that is you, developing you. Ask yourself this question. If you had some people just standing in front of you and they were looking for a company, and there were a couple other team leaders from your company that were present also in the room. And they were trying to decide who were they going to join with. Why would they pick you? I want you to think about that. Now, I'm not saying be critical about yourself. Some of you might be thinking, if I was them, I wouldn't pick me. No. Here's the thing that I want you to do. I want you to start looking for self-worth in yourself. It's easy for us to be critical about ourselves, to find out, to look at what we don't like, what's absent, what's not there. It's good that God is not that way, because he's always looking for what's valuable. He sifts through us to try to find the good. He's not looking for the bad. There's always things that are present in our life that, that we're not good at, that we need to be better at. But what are we good at? I mean, do you care about people? Do you love people? Do you want to help people? That's valuable. Do you have a team? Have you been doing your best to work with your team? I know you can't do it for them, and you shouldn't. But do you reach out to them and let them know, hey, I believe in you. I have confidence in you. Let's work together. Whatever I can do to help you, I'm here to help. I mean, do they hear that from you? So if there was a group of people standing in the room and they're trying to decide who should I go with, they're going to go with the one that's going to care about them, the one that's going to support them, the one who has a team culture where they celebrate people, not ranks. Nothing wrong with celebrating a rank in a group, but what I'm saying is, if that's the only value, you're not going to have too many people with ranks. What pushes people to a rank position is appreciation. John F. Kennedy, probably the only Democrat I ever liked. He said, when the tide comes in, all ships rise. All ships, not some, not one, not two, all ships rise. That's culture. When you're bringing the culture in, you're bringing the value in, and you're impartial about it, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender, regardless whether they're good looking, not so good looking, fat, skinny, whatever. You're totally impartial in your love and the way you treat your people. That's culture. All ships will rise. All leaders will rise. Rise where? To greater rank positions. And you have to inculcate that into your people, into your leaders. It can't be just you. Culture is about everybody. You agree to the principles of how we're going to treat one another. This is the way we're going to do it. So when we think about how do we get the gig economy, people who were doing various things before, driving Ubers, or Lyfts, on Amazon, doing whatever, how do you get them into your business? And by the way, that book's got a list of a lot of side gigs. It's huge. How do you get them into your business? It's by these very things. These very things. So continue. You heard that saying, work harder on yourself than you do your team, is really true. Continue to commit to personal growth, because you're going to need that, because what we do takes a lot of motivation. It takes a lot of, if you want to be great at it, that is. And to encourage our leaders and help them to be the kind of leaders they want to be in your business, a lot of that's going to depend on your mental attitude and your personal motivation. There are always things getting in the way, always. There's always going to be disappointments, there are always going to be things like that. That's okay. But when we think about now the future of network marketing, it's awesome. It's awesome because we don't depend on employees. We don't depend on brick and mortar. We don't depend on locations. We don't have a lot of infrastructure to what we do. I mean, if your company can ship the products and pay you, you're gold, man. You're good to go. You're good to go. The rest is in your court now. But look at the advantages that you have right now, and people are open to it. So I'd see the future as being incredibly great, incredibly great. Leaders will have to, again, there's always going to be issues with the FTC and some companies that, or leaders, I'll say leaders, and sometimes companies that, violate the way they want to see things done. There's always going to be that struggle, and I think eventually we'll see some court battles in the future that will probably make some sense in it all, because there should be some compliance. I mean, you can't just say anything. Truth is important, what we say about our products, but at the same time, we're going to have to coexist with governments, and I think that'll work out fine. It'll work out fine. What you have to focus on is you and how you're going to run your show, and I hope you do it right. You know, I think about the future of network marketing. I can see myself now, doing a hologram in hundreds of, maybe even thousands. We do Zoom calls, right? How would you like me to do a presentation right in your home? Just a hologram, You remember that when Luke Skywalker, when he touched R2-D2 to get this message, from Princess Leia, and she came out in a hologram, and he was like, whoa. Could you imagine doing that in the near future? Anywhere in the world, in somebody's home. You say, well, Jeff, that's a little crazy. Well, crazy's coming fast. But if it came and it was effective, would you use it? I would. We have to change. We have to adapt. Used to, in the last 4 decades, it's like every decade we have a major paradigm shift in tools, in methodology, and things like that. Now, the basics never change, right? Just the methods, just the principles, the tools, that's all. So the thing about it is, as long as we keep an open mind and we work on it, our future will be very bright in network marketing. When you think about it, it's low risk, high return, and all the things that come with it that are so wonderful. I even posted that today on my Facebook page. I posted some pictures of us in Taiwan. This time this year, we were in Taiwan. Had the family and went to some beautiful places in a boat and out in the country, and just was incredible. That's one of the values, other than money, is the world education you get, understanding cultures, understanding religions, understanding people, and meeting people, incredible people. That's the future of network marketing. We're going to see that technology more and more is going to make it easier to do what we do. It's going to give us more time, and we're going to be more effective. So those are my thoughts tonight from my room here. By the way, I'll give a shout out to Gordon Hester. This is his book, Positioned Right. That's the backward version. Gordon Hester, it's on Amazon, Positioned Right. He gets deep in the book, okay? He really does, but he's big on culture and the importance of culture. And tonight, after what I said about it, now you know why. So thanks for getting on this call tonight. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening. It's been a crazy day today. I was talking to one of my workers that works here, and he just sent me a message. He tested positive to coronavirus, and I feel bad for him. And now I'm going to reach out and see what I can do to help him. That was on my mind before I got on this call. And just be safe out there with what you do and the people you get around. And that's it. Just stay safe, and I wish all of you a happy week. I'll see you tomorrow and look forward to talking to you then about another subject. Thanks for touching base tonight. If you got value out of this, share it. And also, George always reminds me, my book, Reaching the Peak. If you haven't read my book, Reaching the Peak, it's on Amazon. It's my 40-year journey. Anyway, everyone, have a great evening. Talk to you soon.